Here's the honest starting point: sustainable building materials almost always cost more upfront. Anyone who tells you otherwise is selling you something. But the question that actually matters isn't do they cost more, it's do they pay you back, and by how much. Today we're going through exactly what the premium looks like, which materials are genuinely worth it, and where the numbers actually land over the life of a building. Let's deal with the number everyone wants first. Low-carbon concrete, engineered timber, and high-performance insulation typically carry a 5 to 15% upfront cost premium over their conventional equivalents. On a mid-range home, that might mean an extra few £1,000s in material costs, not nothing, but not the eye-watering jump some people expect either. And it's not uniform. Some sustainable options, insulated concrete formwork blocks, for example, are actually competitively priced or even cost-neutral because they're cheaper to manufacture locally and don't carry the same premium as more niche products. So this isn't a blanket green costs more rule. It depends entirely on the material. Here's where the maths flips. When you look at life cycle costing, not just the day you pay for materials, but the 20 years after that, the picture changes completely. Research suggests life cycle savings from sustainable materials can exceed the additional upfront cost by 4 to 6 times over 2 decades, mostly through reduced energy bills from better thermal performance. That means the 5 to 15% premium isn't really a cost. It's closer to a deposit on a couple of decades of lower heating bills, less maintenance, and, as we'll get to next, a building that's worth more when you come to sell it. This is the number that changes minds. Research into London commercial property in 2026 found top-tier certified sustainable buildings commanding close to a 9.5% valuation premium, while properties that failed to meet minimum energy standards took a valuation penalty of nearly 25%. That's not a small gap. Going green isn't just an ethical choice anymore. Increasingly, failing to build sustainably is becoming the more expensive option once resale value and compliance risk are factored in. Timber-framed homes already show around 20% lower embodied emissions than masonry equivalents, and swapping concrete for cross-laminated timber specifically can cut emissions by up to 60% on that element. It also has the unusual property of actually storing carbon rather than just emitting less of it. Low-carbon concrete, made using fly ash or slag byproducts instead of pure cement, performs comparably to standard concrete but with a smaller footprint. And high-performance insulation is arguably the highest value item on this list, because it's the one most directly responsible for the energy savings that drive your long-term payback. There's also a regulatory push happening underneath all of this. The Future Homes Standard and updates to Building Regulations Part 50 are steadily raising the baseline for energy efficiency and embodied carbon on new builds. Clients are increasingly asking for green credentials before they even discuss the design, and mortgage lenders and insurers are starting to factor energy performance into their own risk assessments. In practical terms, that means sustainable specification is moving from an optional upgrade to something closer to the new baseline expectation, which makes getting ahead of it now less of a gamble and more of a sensible head start. So, worth the investment or not? If you're only looking at the invoice on completion day, sustainable materials cost more. That's simply true, and no one should pretend otherwise. But if you're looking at the building over the 20 years you'll actually own it, live in it, or sell it, the maths tips firmly the other way: lower running costs, stronger resale value, and a building that's already compliant with where regulation is heading rather than playing catch-up later. The premium isn't the cost. It's the investment. The only real question is which specific materials make sense for your project, your budget, and your priorities. If you want a straight, honest comparison of what sustainable materials would actually cost and actually save on your specific project, that's exactly the conversation we have at Mica Construction. No upselling, just the real numbers for your build. Get in touch, and let's work out what's genuinely worth it for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.